A very good day, everybody. My name's Callum from DX Commander, and I am now starting to get emails going, Callum, I'm a bit confused. I don't know which DX Commander to buy. I think it's quite important we run through this because I've got a range of vertical antennas, and they're kind of, a lot of people think, well, they're basically the same. They kind of are, but they've got there's some nuances, okay? So I think what we should do is run through the nuances and work out what's right. So first of all, what is a DX Commander? Now, I've done a couple of videos. I'll try and remember to put a card somewhere up for you here, maybe in the description, of how, I mean, it's just quite interesting topic of how the idea came to me, right? But basically, we've heard of a fan dipole, haven't we? Where you've got a centre feed point, you might have a 40-metre element, and then a 20-metre element under it. Well, this is kind of similar. I mean, it's not a vertical fan dipole, but it's kind of similar, where we've got our coax. I'll just check that camera's recording and it's in the right place. Coax coming along, we've got the ground, all right, and then go blue for some reason, and then we've got a single, to start with, a single element, let's say for 40 meters. And then I started to come up with ideas of what happens if you attach to that feed point, let's say 20, and off the other side we could have, let's say 17, and then front to back, you probably can't see it, you could you have 12 and 10, and you could have 30 meters, all sorts. I've got a couple of pictures here on the screen. I mean, that's it at the base plate, where you can see all the elements are rising up from the feed point, which will be somewhere around here, if I can click a button and show you. There's a feed point, just on the right-hand side of that picture. You get an SO239, and your coax, little jumper lead, look, coming to the driven plate. And then the ground plate, where we just put a few holes and 4 connectors, and we can connect, 60 radials or whatever. How many radials and all that I've done before, you have to surf through the channel, and you'll find them. So that's the concept. I'll see if there's any more pictures. Well, there's kind of a built one. You can see all the radials coming out from the bottom, all the elements coming straight up. I mean, for this build, I just used some kids' bracelets stuff, and there we are, it's going up. This happens to be the Rapide. I'll come to that in a minute. The first one I designed was off the back of call it a 10-metre pole. It's not 10 metres, it's actually 9.5, which is actually fantastic, whatever that is in feet, but 9.5 is great, because it means we've got 9.5, or maybe it's 9.2, 9.3, we go up to the top and then come back a little bit. There's a little bit of trickery that we just happen to get 40 and 15 on the same element. We're kind of getting a compressed 3/4 wave actually on 15, which is why it performs so well. It's just an accident, all right? They all are quarter waves. There's no component wizardry or anything. What goes in goes out, all right? You've got a great ground, everybody will hear you. That's, well, why we've sold maybe, 3,000 of these or something, I was going to tell you a story about a contest station that also has got a DX Commander on a switch, because sometimes you can't whiz round, big tower, 200 foot. Clicks to that, because, you can still hear him. I'll give him a quick call and go back to where I was doing. But there we are. Let's get down to brass tacks. So on here is the listing for the DX Commander Classic. All right, if I go to the bottom, there's probably some fairly old pictures from my garden. There is, and you can see it here. And this was originally designed for 40 and up. So let's get a new piece of paper ready, and I'm going to put the Classic there. All right, we'll call it Classic, which was 40 and up. I'll come on how we get 80 on most of these as well in a minute, but that was what it was designed for. That's the neatest looking way you can get it. So that was the Classic. Then we add another antenna, and in fact, I'm not quite sure I'll do the prices maybe in the description. There's not a lot between this and the Expedition, which is fundamentally the same, right? But it's based on a smaller, compact pole. So let's find some pictures of this. You will often notice that the Expedition's got slightly less elements, right? It's more of a whiz-bang, quick holiday, caravan, portable-y thing. In fact, Tom Rowlands, I'll see if I can remember to put his channel in the description. He did a little blog. He did 4 quite intense blogs where he walked around the Isle of Arran with an Expedition I mean, that's it there. It's not one of Tom's pictures. And every day, about lunchtime, put it up. And then every morning he took it back down, put it in his backpack, and he walked another 10 miles, let's say. So that was Tom. He actually told me he's got that down to 7 minutes. I kind of didn't believe him, but he said he was going to come down with his gear and we'll film it. And I reckon it's probably more than that, 9. But Tom, honestly, I mean, once you get used to it, and I showed him a couple of tricks. Not for today, but I'll come up with those tricks shortly. Expedition. So it's the same size when it's up, but instead of being 4 foot long or 120 centimeters, it's half that. All right, so it's just over 2 foot long when it's collapsed. But there's 17 small sections, thinner tubing. Of course, it has to be because it's all got to fit inside. Roughly the same diameter at the bottom. Different components, whatever else. And again, that is 40 plus. So you pick your bands. I think we're allowed 40 and 15 and another 3 bands. So most people would do, if they wanted all of it, they would do 40 and 15, 20, and we're allowed another 2. Say 17, 10. We did 10 on this. They were fantastic in the hills years ago. I will try and find that as well and put a link to that in the description. We did great on 10. Anyway, the factory got in touch with me. He said, look, so all these are, call them 9.5s. That's the length, right? 9.5. 9.5. They came up and they said, we've got a 7 metre pole. Let's put this in blue, so it's a bit smaller. Would you like a couple of samples? Same as the Classic. In fact, it's the top 7 sections of the Classic. So that one is here. We've already had a little brief look at this. It's a large, it's about half the weight, actually, even though because most of the material is in the bottom 3 sections. 7 metres. And I tried to launch the 7 metre pole a few times. It always flopped. And until I realised, in fact, what we could do is we could make this a dedicated 30 plus. We can get 40 on this too. I'm telling you what it was originally designed for. And that is 7 metres. Okay, same thing, 7 metres. So that is what I call the Classic range, okay? I'm not going to labour it. You're intelligent enough. Right, so how do we get 80 on this one here? We basically, we go up, I think, 7 metres and go along 12, and we don't use the 30 metre element, and that gives us 80. As an inverted L. Tons of people use them as inverted Ls. Doesn't look super pretty, but it does the job, right? Because the pole bends over a bit, with extra wire. Whatever. And then on the 7 metre Rapide, I don't know. Sometimes I just have to come up with names, all right? What we did is, instead of using 30 metres, we use the 30 metre element, and we effectively put a tiny coil that the user makes. Usually just winds it, I think, 13 times. And that brings 40 metres into tune. So why would you buy any of these? This, I'm just going to do Rapide. This, if you've got like an HOA, so I've got a number of customers, I'll try and dig out the pictures if I can remember, where you can hardly see the Rapide. It's only like 6.8 metres long, which is 24 foot or something. It's under your roof. You can put it next to a tree. No one knows it's there. And if you're restricted, it's a great antenna to have. So if you are after a no holes compromise on height, but you get every band apart from 30 on this, remember, you'd probably get it with your ATU button. I seem to remember I did on my 990, but I've since realised the 990's got a rather exceptional ATU, button. Clickety, clickety, click, ting, tuned. Probably about 6 or 8 to 1. You're probably losing half your power. But anyway, it would still work, you see. All right for very low power stuff. You're tootling around on FT8 or something at 10 watts, So that's the height. That Classic will sell and sell and sell. It just works every time. I always felt the 80 metre was, one, a compromise on its look, and one, it doesn't do DX like a straight vertical would do. So let's draw a line under there and start again. And I'll now come up with the 18 metre Nebula. So this is like the Classic, it's just super massive. So the signature range comes out of a different factory. I'm not quite sure if I've got all the pictures here. I didn't have a camera wide enough, actually. Just trying to say 18 meters. I actually got between about 17.3 and 17.6. The height doesn't matter. The point is, for 80, we go all up to the top, and we just come down a bit and work out where we need to cut it. Bang, and it's a couple of hundred kilohertz on 80 meters. Performs just as well as a 20-meter vertical, but on 80, right? So I've crossed the Atlantic quite a few times on these, on a full-size vertical. Fantastic. So what does this do? I'll call it the 18 meter, but it's the Nebula. So this is getting 80, 60, 40, 30, and 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 17. 6, there's my 6 elements. 15, we got off the 40 meters, and I was getting a perfect tune, almost a perfect tune on 12 and 10. I think off either the 80 or the 60, I can't remember. But it was working, okay? So, more of a low bander, more of an 80, 60, 40, 30 guy, perfect for that. Particularly if you're after the last 5 DXCCs sort of on 80 meters. I've had a couple of customers buy that. And that is going at about £500. But I'm not running through the prices right now. I'm just telling you which one you start looking at. So that was it. And then the same factory, the Signature factory, sent me a 12.4, a single 12.4. Actually, they sent me originally 4 of these. These were samples. It's a few years ago now. And I never thought, what the hell are we going to do with the 12.4? And I discounted it for, a good couple of years, to be frank with you. And I just, why does everybody want a 12-metre pole, 40 foot, you see? Because it's not resonant on any band or anything else. But we started tinkering around with it in the field and learning from all my experience with the Rapide here, with the coil and everything, and how it mucked up all the harmonics and so on. We got there in the end. I thought it would be quite interesting to do here. So in fact, this is probably my greatest achievement, to be frank with you. It's got 7 elements, and it does 80 to 10 as a vertical. All right, and we get an 80. So, I mean, that's a lot of bands, by the way. Every band we're getting at a tune, better than like 1.2 to 1. So just imagine what you can do with that. You can leave whisper running between 80 and 10 meters. You could change band at will. If you've got a 2 VFO radio, you can be swizzling up on 17 meters here while listening to someone on 20 there, connected to one of these. Doesn't matter. It's instant tune. It's not like you've got to press a button or anything else. It's just tuned all the time. It's fantastic. My greatest achievement. And this is what's in the pot. I shouldn't be telling you this because it's months away. All right. This is a kind of a copy of the classic. It's another 9.5. So this will be a signature 9.5 or signature 10. I don't know. It's a kind of a copy of the classic, but it's the top 9.5 meters of this beast, basically. And they sent me some samples. I've got 10 samples. And we put, last October, an aluminium, thin-walled aluminium in the ground. No concrete or anything. I just sunk it down about 2.5 feet. 75 centimetres. And I think there was about 60 centimetres showing. I slipped the pole over and I've just left it there, and that's been October. It's done the whole winter. It hasn't moved. Flicks around a bit and everything. I just wanted to make sure. And we've had a couple of big storms, as you know. Seems to be doing really well. So that's quite exciting, but that's for the sort of back end of the year. None of those components fit on those. I'm sorry, everything's a different diameter. So if you want an upgrade, maybe keep your classic for a rainy day or go on a holiday, whatever. Keep the radials down. You could bolt one of these on. Rough pricing, without me checking, I'm just going to tell you where it is normally. So the Rapide is normally just under 200. The Classic is just over 200, and so is the Expedition. This is in pounds. So if you multiply this by about 1.2, you get dollars. If you multiply it by about 1.5, you'll get it shipped next day to your place. All right. This is expensive. That's 500 and something pounds. It's probably 600 with shipping, so it's getting on near $800 for this. It's just huge, right? This is a lot less by £100, 400. They all come with all the wire. You get everything. I'm not doing a sales pitch now. I'm just saying you get everything. It's not like you're buying like a step IR vertical where you need to go out and buy source all your wire and everything else. We supply everything, right? But that's going out the door at the moment. I think at $399. Shipping's £40, so 34 about $500. You should get that next day or day after the 12.4 signature. And this is a bit of an unknown. I'm trying to get it at £299, $380 or something. And there we are. Hopefully that will help you understand exactly where I've gone with everything. There'll be no more of these. Once got this one here, I've got an idea for this. This one here, not heavy, little minor redesign, done. Then I'm moving over to Project X. So I can't tell you about. And that's about 2 years away, I would have thought. All right, thanks for bearing with me. A jolly good day. Next video's coming up here. In the meantime, a very good day. Bye for now. Very good.